Alright guys, so here we are with week number 7, and this is what it's looking like so far. As you can see, there's still a lot more to go, but as for now, this is all I'm going to need. So as I've said in the previous video, I'm going to be working with BlacksmithFilms, so shout out to him. I'm going to put a link in the description to his YouTube channel, you should go check it out. But we're going to be working on a collaboration. It's going to be a Harry Potter brick film that will be featuring this MOC as well as some other sets and locations that we have to design and build. He's going to be doing some segments where he'll be animating and then I'm going to be animating, and we're basically going to piece it together, which is going to be really cool. So for the next month, that's what we have planned. And for the segments that require this MOC, most of it's going to be showing the sort of lower area, so most of the courtyard, and then this wall facade here that I built is mostly going to be shown in the background. So I put a lot of attention to finishing up the detail here, as well as this wall was not here last week, but that's why most of the progress has been done sort of on this side and then on the back, because I'm going to need to eventually animate with it, and that's going to be going on through the next month, as I've said. And therefore, again, like I said last week, I will be putting a pause on update videos for this MOC as well as any building for it, because I'm going to be animating a lot and that's going to take up most of my time. Alright, so going forward, obviously there's going to be a lot more I'm going to have to build after we shoot the film, which is the clock face itself, and I'll get into more detail about ideas I have for that and techniques I'm going to use when we get there. But let's jump into what I've actually built here and look at some stuff up close. Alright, so first off, I want to mention that I did finally receive my parts order, which it was over a month ago that I actually placed it. So here's some of the parts there, and then these parts here. And of course these are all leftovers, as I've already implemented most of them in the build already. But here is a list if anyone's interested in what I got here. Now everything looked good until I noticed the quantity of this part here, which is the 3 long bar, and it says 7 over here, and I double checked the original list that looks exactly like this from when I originally placed the order, and it does say 7. However, that is not enough, and that was a mistake on my part. I had meant to put 70, so if I remove this wall here, you can see a while ago, it was week 1 I believe, I had started this section of the courtyard, and here I have the 3 long bars here, and I had to substitute them in gray because I didn't order enough of the tan ones, which is very unfortunate. And here you can also see I have those tan bar connectors now, the superhero holder pieces that clip into minifigure hands. So those are in place for all of them, including the ones back here. And then I've had to substitute gray again here because I only ordered 7 and I needed a lot more. So that's a little unfortunate. I won't be able to get those parts before filming the brick film, but eventually I'll get gray, or I'll get tan ones when this MOC is all finished. But I also am going to need to get battle dread arms. Here, let me show you again. That's how I did the archway here, was with the battle droid arms, and I'm gonna need to finish that out for the rest of these. So for the brick film, I'm just going to borrow a bunch of arms off of my battle droids until I get the extra ones needed, so I don't have to rip apart a bunch of minifigs. But as it is, that's fine for now. Just wanted to point that out. But let's take a look at the front there, so I can show you where these went. So of course, as you can see, you probably already know this, but they are all right here. It's just a bunch of these Technic connectors in tan, which is a pretty rare color. I only had one before I placed this order, but I ordered 100 of them, so it was definitely more than enough to finish up all the columns that I needed, and just goes all the way up, and it's really smooth because what we have here is a single indentation here, but when you stack a bunch of these, flip the indentation so it's against a wall and isn't shown, then it becomes really smooth. Here you can see I've only used just a few cylinder bricks to fill in the height there, but most of these parts are just those Technic connectors going all the way up to the top there, until we get to of course the archwork here. And then these are built a little differently, so you can see I didn't get enough of these parts, which are, if I can show you again, there it goes, which are the 1x4 curved slope. So these columns are built a little differently, but that's just the way it all came together. I also want to show what I have going on all the way at the top here. So let's actually move some stuff out of the way and take a closer look at just that. Alright, so now that we have everything out of the way here, you can kind of see what I've done. So I have, again, these Technic parts, which are outlining this curved shape here. I'll show a picture of the studio model again so you can see what that's supposed to represent. With these parts and with a flexible piece, you can sort of string a bunch of them through here, similar to using a flex tube and the cylinder brick. But again, I like to use the Technic part because it has no bottom lip, as the cylinder bricks do here. There's just a little lip on each one. But here you can curve this to any shape you like, and this is a black one here. But it doesn't really matter too much what color you use, because it's only going to be seen just a little bit from here. So as long as it's not a color like something that's going to stand out like gold or white or something like that, it's pretty much fine. But here's a silver one too. And something I noticed while building this section is that these are super stiff. So for this one, I'd have to give it a good bend. This one's kind of already bent, and I got it used, so it's just like this. But then I found I had these dark gray ones in my collection, and they're actually a lot softer. So I don't know if you can tell here, but it's way less pressure that I'm putting onto this piece to make it bend, as opposed to this black one. So what I've actually done is I've used the softer ones for both curves here, as it puts less stress on this arch. It's not pulling this away, whereas if I had used the black one here, or especially the silver one, which wants to stay straight, it would definitely pull up on these parts and start weakening connections and stuff like that. So I opted for the softer version. But yeah, that's what I've done here, and I've also considered using a different piece from this. So there's basically a shorter version of this, and what that will allow me to do, it's essentially a one long technical lift arm, but that'll allow me to put more in here, and the gap between each one will thus be smaller. Alright, so this is the bathroom side, the side that has the bathroom on the bottom, so that's what I'm calling it. Here we have that large wall, and that's basically all this is, but that's all I've had to do really, since most of the shots for the film are going to be on the exterior. Then eventually I will flush everything out and do the interior, but here you can see I built up a lot more wall than I had previously. So I built it all the way up to here, and I also started to run low on another piece, which is the window. So yeah, it's crazy. I know I keep saying I'm running low on parts, but it's just something that happens when you build so large. You think you have enough, but you never really do until you're done. So yeah, I'm just gonna have to keep getting pieces, I guess. But here you can see this is the front, and yeah, a lot of parts went into the side here, and then we have again the dark tan plates was running low on, but managed to get enough to finish up this side. So now let's take a look at the other side here, and it's just hollow, like I said. Alright, so this is the side with Madam Hooch's office on the ground floor, and here you can see still haven't finished up the top yet, and we were talking about last week with the roofs, and since I haven't really gotten to do much work on the roofs, I'm just going to leave that question out there for more people to share their thoughts. So again, what color do the Hogwarts roofs look like in your opinion, or what color do you think they should be in Lego? And I honestly have been debating between sand green and dark gray. As you can see here, there's just a mix there. I've been debating between a mix as well, but obviously haven't settled on anything yet myself. So if you have any ideas out there, any points you want to make clear or anything like that, then go ahead and drop them in the comments. But here we have some more wall. Just like the other side, I managed to build up just a little bit more wall. There's a gaping hole here for a reason, and I'll get into that. But here I've run out of the windows again. I ran out of the insert parts, and then I started running out of the curved window frames themselves, so I had to stop eventually. I probably could have kept going a little bit, but I thought my time was better spent somewhere else. As you saw with the courtyard walls, most of what I've been doing. And by the way, the part order that I said came in this week actually came in 2 days, so I didn't get a lot of time to build as much as I would have liked. Had it come earlier, that would have helped a lot, but still I did manage to get, I think, a decent amount done. And this gaping hole is there because of the dark tan plates. So if you notice, most of the way this coloring works is it's on the edges. So down here we have the sort of darkened corners where most of the wear and tear or discoloration would happen, I suppose, or at least that's the way they depict it on the Hogwarts model. So here I've replicated that, where most of the dark coloring is on the corners and the edges, and a little bit more towards the bottom, less towards the top. But here I've run low. On the dark tan parts, so it's a little emptier here than I would have liked. Alright, so now looking at the interior here, I've done a little bit more work on the design for the floor, kind of figured out what I'm going to be doing here as far as the layout goes. I obviously need to make a hole in this floor, as there has to be stairs going up, because the stairs in the section here go up to this light gray plate, and then I'm going to need another way to get up to the next floor and then up again. So it's going to be this diagonal stair pattern with a staircase here, staircase there, and so I'm going to need a hole in this floor and every proceeding floor afterwards. So here we just have an empty room right now. I'm still deciding what I'm going to put in here, but as I've said, this isn't a priority at the moment because I will be filming most of my shots on the exterior of the castle. However, if you guys do have any ideas of what could go in these rooms, aside from, keeping in mind the stairs are going to take up a section of it, let me know. I still do have some of the stuff I built for some previous videos, some props and stuff like that, and then any other ideas you guys have, just put them down in the comments. Alright, so this is one section that I actually worked on more than you might think. And part of that being the doors here, which used to be using the 1x2 bracket in dark gray. And here I've replaced all of them with brown. Now in the first video where I showed off these doors, I had said that it didn't really bother me too much with the dark gray pieces. And that was partly true. It started bothering me as time went on. They just didn't look right. And I wasn't really going to change it until I ended up getting a deal on the brown parts. I basically found them and they were super cheap, and I luckily got enough of them. So here we have the doors redone. So all the brackets are brown, and so I just open them real quick. You can see that they are finished from the front, and the brown brackets look good from the front and the back. It just looks a lot cleaner, a lot better in my opinion. So that was one part that I went and reworked there. Alright, so another thing you might notice is this strange wall here. And again, as you've seen, my building style involves a lot of sort of planning things out and a lot of temporary building. So this is just a sort of measurement tool, so I can figure out, okay, this wall has to be so many bricks high, and this width here has to be this wide at the top and the bottom, so that it's square here and nothing's warping. And when you start to build something really big, you do want to make sure that everything is perfectly aligned and not going to warp on you. And that starts to become a larger problem as you build bigger and bigger. But that's just what all this is here for, so don't worry about that. At the moment, I don't really think I'm going to be using these parts basically anywhere because they don't have the level of detail I want, so that's nothing to worry about there. And then I did do a little bit of reworking on these back walls here, as well as this archway, which basically starts the passage down the stairs, and then you can go up into the landing over here. And then I will eventually finish up this side too, but I just have the archway there, and then we are back to the front here. And I'm also planning out that while this front section is going to split here, I need the top portion of this building to split a little higher. So the sections are going to be cut this way as opposed to down here, because I needed to make room for where the doorway was, and I didn't want to split the doors anywhere for them to come apart, or for the archway to come apart and the doors to be the only thing left standing there. So I wanted this to all be one assembly here, which will just make it easier for transporting and reassembling every section. Speaking of, I'm going to reassemble everything once again and finish out the video by showing you what it looks like, just like I did in the beginning. So here we go. Alright, so real quick, if anyone was wondering where I'm going to borrow these parrots from, there's this original Prisoner of Azkaban set, which is a pretty cool set that my brother owns, and he said I could borrow these for the Brickfilm, so I'm just going to borrow those. And yes, he did get it complete, so it came with the Sirius Black minifigure, Hermione and everything, and it's just a pretty cool set in general. But anyways, it's just got a Dementor on it right now, as well as a whole bunch of dust. But yeah, pretty cool. So that's basically a parrot battle pack. Alright, so moving back to the castle here for a second, I just want to say thanks to everyone who's watched this series so far. I think you guys definitely deserve some recognition as we move into the brick filming phase, as I'll call it, and we kind of take a break from uploading so many videos weekly. This is like one of the first times I've ever done something like this. So let me know what you guys think about that. It's kind of intense uploading a video a week, coming from someone who usually doesn't upload quite consistently. However, on another note, I will say that for those of you who have been watching our Classic Space series, I plan to be more consistent with that series in particular, as it does particularly well for a brick film, and for content on our channel, it is definitely one of the more popular things. And on top of that, it's also something I enjoy doing more than most other genres of content on our channel. It's definitely one of my favorite things to do, so I'm looking forward to that. So with that being said, chapter 5, I am planning to start animating at the very latest in December, and hopefully get the chapter finished before the end of the year. Of course, that's going to be quite a tight time, so look forward to that if that's the main reason you subscribe to this channel. But yeah, so lots of cool stuff to come, so stay tuned for that. I'll try to include updates, if not videos, and some kind of post, maybe for like behind the scenes stuff of what's going on, and little sneak peeks here and there. But I don't want to give away too much, of course, because a lot of it's going to be a surprise for that finished film. But yeah, so thanks again for tuning in to the series, and I'll see you guys again when I've got more to show. So bye for now. Okay, I might be changing my mind, guys. Sand green just looks way too good. Prove me wrong. I mean, look at this. Like, I think sand green is the way to go.